Welcome to the Abundant Life Podcast, bringing you encouragement and challenging believers to spiritual change and growth by applying biblical principles to everyday life. And now your hosts, Sasso Mendez and Ben Ariano.
Welcome, everybody, to the Abundant Life Podcast. This is episode number 68. I'm here with my good friend and faithful servant in the faith, Sasso Mendez.
What up, Ben? We have a special guest today.
Yes, sir. When you want to introduce him?
All right, we have JJ coming all the way from, I don't know, where'd you come from, JJ?
Down the street.
Down the street? Okay. Did you even walk, though, did you?
No, it's 15-minute drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you live on this side of town? Or?
Yeah, 75th Ave.
Oh, okay.
75th and Bell.
All right, because I seen you at the Fry's on 59th and Bell back in the day.
67th.
67th, thank you. So you're close to that.
Yeah.
Close to the mall.
Like 3 minutes from there.
All right. Yeah. Nice. You have a nice view for the fireworks coming up on the 4th.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Clear Sports Complex.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we talk about food during this time. Is there a particular food you like or your favorite type of food or favorite food?
I eat everything. I love steak, but I also love ramen noodles.
My daughter likes to go eat ramen, but it's like $20 when you go eat it because it has pork belly.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I don't like to pay $20 for something that you can buy at $3 for $99 or something like that.
It'll be like 10 cents a packet, bro.
I know.
Inflation, bro.
With the bugs in them. También. For free. For free.
I seen that video. That's pretty crazy.
With the microscope?
Do you think that's real?
No.
No.
And then plus you put boiling water.
That's what I was
in
going to
there,
say.
you know?
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff we eat.
Yeah, you cook it anyways.
Yeah.
So do you eat it with an egg or do you just eat it just ramen noodles?
So I ate ramen noodles for 14 years, every which way possible. So I can make you some ramen noodles that you would just be flabbergasted by it. Like, how'd you make this? You know, can make you ramen noodles with summer sausage, with beans, with cheese, in a tamal.
What?
Man, it's cutting edge.
Taco.
Would you consider opening your restaurant?
No.
Ramen every which way.
JJ's Ramen.
No,
JJ's
I'm trying to
ramen.
lose weight.
Well, you don't have to get high if you don't supply. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
It happens.
Do you put an egg in there or no egg?
I have boiled eggs.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah. Put boiled egg in there, some hot pepper flakes, some cheese, some crunched up tortilla chips.
I've done
Like
that.
wontons.
I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got a buddy that, he's doing some time and they have like Saturday nights is Chinese night and they make orange chicken out of orange packets from somewhere with ramen.
Yeah, I've seen them do it with
They got a whole...
with mackerel fish and Kool-Aid packs and they're creative in there.
I was surprised. He said, yeah, it's a pretty big deal that we have on Saturday nights. So you what's your favorite food? Like you're on death row,
My favorite food.
and they're gonna what do you want?
I like king crab legs, oysters,
So you're a man of the sea.
steak. I like steak too. I like turf.
Like what's your favorite steakhouse, would you say?
Favorite steakhouse. I think my wife makes pretty good steak.
It's hard to do.
But
She make it on
makes
the
good
grill
steak.
or
on the stove,
okay,
in the
like
oven.
in the pan?
Yeah.
Sear it.
She sears it
Yeah.
and cooks it in the
Bake it,
oven.
bake it.
Yeah. But I think the best steak I've had was probably at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant in Vegas. It was A5 Wagyu with a foie gras on top. That was
Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds pretty fancy.
I'm kind of hungry.
I thought you were gonna say Texas Roadhouse or
that was
something.
delicious. No, Texas Roadhouse is good though.
But I'm hungry. It's 4 hours away, bro. You know, we can hit that right
I
after
know,
the podcast.
right?
You know,
Can we look up some flights here while we're on? We catch a quick flight, head back.
get a Waymo over there.
Yeah, I got to bring my computer.
Yeah.
I'm working from home today. All right. Well, we call us the Taco Twins. Ben's more of a street taco guy. I like hard shell. I grew up with hard shell tacos.
Taco Bell.
Actually, I grew up with hard shell, believe it or not, too. But when I got to Phoenix and I learned about street tacos, because we don't have those back home.
Where are you from?
New Mexico.
I was born in New Mexico.
Oh, really? Where at?
Hobbs.
Okay, cool. Silver City.
I don't know nothing about it.
Which
I was there for like 3 months, and then we moved over here to Tucson.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part because Tony was there, in Silver City, my
Tony's been
hometown.
in
That was
Mexico too.
Where's that at?
it's a southwest corner. So if you're, it's kind of off the beaten path a little bit. So if you go in through like Lordsburg.
Okay, so I was over here in this corner, closest to Texas.
Yep.
You're over here closer to Arizona.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. So, but yeah, I grew up with hard shell tie. That's what my mom made. So when I came here, I learned about street tacos, man. Oh, I love street tacos, man.
Street tacos are.
Al pastor, it's my favorite.
It's pretty good.
Yes, it's got to be on the trompo. It's got to have the pineapple on top.
Do you like tripas?
I love tripas.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
We have to take him to
I saw a smile come on his face, like, oh.
Because
We're gonna have to take him to Guadalajara.
because I tell Alex about it, and she's like, "Can't do it." I'm like, "Why not?" She's like, "It's counter testing." I'm like, "It's good. It's like it's cooked,
Yeah, it's crunchy.
Hey, especially if they crunch it. Yeah, make it crunchy.
It's a delicacy.
It is.
I feel like no shade on the lighter skin, the less melanin people, but they don't like tripas or menudo, chicharron. Like it's
Chicharron is in ramen.
Ooh, interesting.
Never
Well, it's
heard
like
of
pork belly, bro, but it's a little crunchy.
Get,
Crunchy pork belly.
Get the red pork rinds from the store.
the hot ones.
Get a summer sausage, chop it up, dice it up, put it in your ramen.
Pretty legit.
Yeah. The pork rinds with the red powder on them.
Mm-hmm.
What a trip! Never thought of that one. I love those chicharron too. Those are good.
I
My wife loves them.
The chicharrones.
Yeah, when we go on a road trip, that's what we get.
Well, I got a Sam's big thing like this on my desk, and it's like this much now. I think people have been dipping in there.
Yeah, it's probably Gustavo, bro.
Yeah, probably. He said it's disgusting. I won't eat that.
Yeah, but as soon as you walk away, he's probably.
Yeah, he goes to Taco Bell. He's, no prejudice about food.
What was the first time I went to Freedom that last? You had brought somebody, one of your coworkers with you.
That's Gustavo.
Oh, okay.
Kind of tall guy.
I can't remember.
He listens to the podcast, so I got to keep it PG. So yeah, that's Gustavo. He's we've been doing the exchange, and he's stuck on lesson 3, so he can't get to that. Have you ever done the exchange or no? Okay, just a 4-week Bible study, and progressively, get you to make a decision about whether you accept Christ or whether you won't.
And just a little plug: we were actually on Pastor George's podcast talking about the exchange a couple weeks ago, and so check it out. I think it's Gospel Talks is the name of the podcast.
Is the exchange like something from Freedom that Last?
No, there's a man named Jeff Musgrave that puts the material out, and Freedom at Last is a man named Jim Berg. I think they're 2 different circles. I don't think they're separate gangs, Christian gangs. I'm just kidding. They roll different sets,
Pastor George has a podcast too.
He does the exchange podcast, Gospel Talks, and he does with the topic of the exchange. So people that couldn't Freedom that last that want to do Bible study, we typically will do it with them. Like those 2 gentlemen that came on Friday, prime like people for because people will mostly do like, hey, I want to do Bible study.
The 2 people that came that I was sitting next to.
Correct.
One that lives like 1 block away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know if I can say the name, but you know what I'm talking about. Just because they, like most people will come and they'll be interested in doing a Bible study, and that's a good, way to get to know them, and then a way to introduce them into the gospel. And some people, like one of the guys that came on Friday said he'd never heard a Bible verse in his life. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like I've never seen a Bible verse. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Living a block from the church his whole life. Never heard a Bible verse.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Shame on us or shame on him. I don't know which one, but I was kind of blown away by that.
I mean, it's a thing,
Yeah. I mean, even in America where we have access to Bibles, it's not common as we think.
How many do I have sitting on the shelf right here? You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I was telling JJ to get to your house, you could just walk through the church if you could, and you'd be right here. Just go on the other side of the mountain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just bring your trekking poles and you'd be here.
Ben said he's still late for church.
I am. It's like we live like literally 2-3 minutes away, and
You're not as late as I am, though. You know what I mean? I was like 9, 10 o'clock. I was there at church.
I kind of wish Tony would show up early because Tony would like clog up the row. You know what I'm saying? Because I sit there and people kind of still look over me and stuff, but Tony's sitting there, bro. They don't even want to mess with him.
Yeah.
No,
they're like, no, let's go to the next row.
Yeah,
like he looks
careful, honey.
He makes the church like
hold on to your purse. Watch
half eclipse. You know what I mean? When he stands up, you know what I mean? 330 pounds.
I know, man. It's like,
a lot of.
It's all among the Jews, bro. I'm telling you.
I just remember when he sat down, he's like, "Dang, that chair's strong." It was like.
Well, it's funny because I saw him sitting. He sat one in this time, so he was sitting between you and someone else, right? So like,
yeah, Isaiah.
That was Isaiah. Well, that's okay because Isaiah like takes up half a seat. You know what I mean?
He's 110 pounds.
Yeah. So no big deal there.
His whole body's one cheek for Tony, pretty much. You know what I mean? It's pretty bad. But yeah, well. So
how far does Tony live from here?
Tony lives on 23rd in Glendale, so not close, but not too far.
Yeah.
Ladies, he's single. Just saying.
Yeah, he is single.
Just throwing that out there.
I'm not even gonna say his pickup lines, but yeah.
Oh no,
they're pretty bad.
You should have seen what he sent me today on YouTube. I'm like, bro, come on.
Okay, the guy.
It was
hot dogs.
Yeah. Well, no, it was something different.
Okay,
I'll show you later.
He's out of bounds sometimes with these.
Yeah, I'm like, bro. I was like, that's funny, but yeah, I was wrong on so many levels, dude. Like, why are you sending that to me, dude?
He's growing through the sanctification process.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes.
He's not there yet.
We're all there, right? We're all being sanctified, man. So,
and just to transition into, I mean, I know you got something to say as far as before we get into the content of the podcast, but I was really when you came to Freedom at Last. I didn't know you per se, and I mean, I seen you around, and then you just kind of shared your testimony in group, and I think Tony was fairly new. He had just started coming at that point, and he wasn't saved, right? And so, that night is I kind of, I could see, like I understood like what he was saying. And some people you bring and they're just like, Bible verses is just foreign idea to them. Right. And then Tony was kind of hungry. He'd kind of been...
Yeah, he was hungry.
Yeah, he was hungry for it, so he was kind of set up for it. But that's why I said, man, we got to have JJ on the podcast. And then you got baptized, and we had somebody over last week, and they're like, yeah, that was a great testimony that blessed me. I said, well, we're going to have him on the podcast next week so you can listen to the podcast and like and subscribe if you want to and grow the show. But go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I would just say, too, JJ and I were talking, too, about Tony and just the difference we've seen in the past year because he saw him at that point when he first came. And then to see him now, to where he's at even after salvation, it's just night and day. And obviously he's on the sanctification, train, but yeah, but it's a night and day difference. So it's really cool. And I know we talk about Tony a lot, but it's really neat to see God working in his life. But I'll just a quick intro here. You can visit us at abundantlife.fm. We do have a donation option, and I just implemented a recurring donation option. So for those of you that would like to donate on a recurring basis, you can do that now. And you can also visit us at, Facebook and Instagram. We got some cool content coming out. We've been using this cool AI tool to send out, and YouTube as well. Send out these cool reels and shorts. So definitely check us out, and you can get pretty much like our podcast content in little bite-sized snippets. It's kind of more of a bait and switch. I want you to actually listen to the whole episode, but you can go get an idea of what the podcast is about.
You're hungry, you low on cash, you go to Costco, you get little appetizers, right? You go around again.
That's
Take
exactly
all your kids.
I love it. It's the Costco appetizer.
Yeah, exactly. You get a little bit, you get a little piece, and hopefully you go and buy the product, right? That's
exactly
the whole process of it. So, and thank you, Ken Luer, for your donation, and Cody.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
We do thank you for that. And so let's jump into some content here. I think Sasso's got our key verse for today, and we'll jump in.
So we just said this verse, 2 Corinthians 5:17. The Bible says, "Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new." We say this every Friday, Freedom at Last. That's one of our key verses. Because really, your baptism, right, when you came out of the water, it's behold, all things come new. And it's not like physically you changed per se, but it's just showing the world like, hey, I have decided, that, as our church would say, to follow Jesus. So if you want to just share, like, hey, how has God worked in your life since birth, right, to bring you here to this chair?
Oh yeah, you could just talk about your childhood a little bit, like how was it like growing up, and there's a lot there. I know
my childhood involved gangs, drugs. It was a rough childhood, I guess, for some people. I got jumped into a gang at 7 or 8 years old. I was jump out my window in the middle of the night and go hang out with friends and do drugs, and I think when I was 12 years old, I ended up going to juvenile for a year and a half for assault on my principal, 2 or 3 stolen cars, and when I was in juvenile at Adobe Mountain, we'd go to church and we'd have these ministers come over and talk to us, and I had this couple, Ed and his wife Tony, that took a liking to me, and they would come see me every week. They'd give me stuff to read in the Bible. I'd go to my cell, and for that week I would just dive into it, and the next week I'd go and see them at church, and we'd go over what I read, and that's how I started knowing God. And
was that your first introduction to spiritual things, or had your parents ever taken you to church prior to that?
No, never. We weren't a church family. They're Mexican, so everything for a Mexican is God willing, and thank God, and con el favor de Dios, but I mean, I don't know if they've ever stepped into a church, but everything for them is somewhere along the lines of thank God and God willing, and pray, mijo, pray, even though I've never seen them do that. But so yeah, that was the first time. And then when I got out, Ed had went and visited me at my house like the day that I got out, and took me to the church and showed me the people that he said were praying for me the whole time that I was in there. And 21 days later, I ended up back in jail for a stolen car and a high-speed chase, and I ended up going back for another year and a half. And that's just been my life, in and out of jail since I was 11, 12 years old. When I became an adult, 18 years old, I got out of juvenile with a warrant, and started the whole process again. Ended up going to prison for 14 years. Had a drug habit in there, and I think it was 9 years into my sentence. I was just at an all-time low that I hadn't ever seen before, and I just remember praying hard, every night on my knees, just asking God to help me, to save me, to give me the strength, just give me the strength to just, get sober in there. And a couple weeks later, I ended up in the hospital for a number of things. I had valley fever, pneumonia, endocarditis. One of my heart valves was infected, and when I went to medical, they had I was like, I got a fever, just give me something to knock my fever down and put me back in my cell. And it was shift change, so I had all the nurses from day shift and all the nurses from night shift, and I had the provider there. And they're like, dude, you got a heart infection probably from doing drugs. And I was like, oh, you're incompetent and you don't know what you're talking about, and the only reason you're working out of prison is because you couldn't cut it in the hospital.
Yeah, let's help this guy.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm like, put me back in my cell. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. And she was like, all right, you don't have to go, but you're gonna go on suicide watch. And I was like, suicide? What are you talking about? And she's all like, yeah. She's like, I have the power to put you in suicide watch, because you're not taking care of yourself, and we have to keep an eye on you. And I was like, oh, man. I'm like, suicide watch. I'm like, that's like 72 hours. I'm like, with nothing in my cell, and it's gonna be cold. I'm like, I'll go to the hospital. They're gonna, prove her wrong and send me right back. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll go to the hospital, And I went to the hospital, and they ran some tests, and they came back, and they're like, I don't know how you're walking. They're like, you got valley fever, you got pneumonia. They're like, and you got a heart infection. And I was like, all right, so what's the next step, And then they're like, we're going to run some pretty heavy antibiotics through your body. And if that works and gets you cleared up, they're like, we'll send you back. I'm like, that's going to work. It's like antibiotics, like cure everything. And I think like a day or two later, they're like, it's not doing anything. They're like, we're going to have to do heart surgery on you. And I was 32, and I was like, heart surgery? I'm like, man, nobody even knows I'm here. I'm like, not a family member, not a friend, not even my neighbor in the prison that I was just at, I was like, nobody knows what's going on. And I was like, well, can I make a phone call? Like, just let somebody know, just in case I die, like, they know, like, what happened. And they're like, yeah, sure. So they pushed my heart surgery back one day because I wanted to make a phone call. And nobody answered. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. And so the next day, they came to pull me out for my heart surgery. And again, I was like, no, hold on. Let me make a phone call, And again, couldn't get a hold of anybody. And finally, the insurance people came in, and they're like, either you go in for this surgery or you go back to prison. I'm like, fine, I'll go back. I'm like, what's going to happen if I go back? They're like, you're going to be dead in a day.
Wow.
So I was like, all right, I'll do the heart surgery. And I did it, and they fixed me up. I came out with no extra parts or anything. And I just remember laying in my bed at the hospital.
Like recovery or?
Yeah, well, I had valley fever and pneumonia too. So if everything would have been fine, I would have been able to go back to the infirmary in prison like a day or two later. But after their surgery, my whole body swelled up, and they couldn't figure out what it was. So they put me back down again, put a camera down my throat, looked at my heart to see if they messed something up. And they're like, your heart's leaking still. It's got like a little hole. They're like, but shouldn't be anything to where your whole body's swelling up. And they ended up taking like 3 liters or like a liter, then like 2 more liters of fluid out of my lungs from the pneumonia. And so I ended up staying at the hospital for like 3 weeks. And they're like, like, you're costing us a lot of money. And they're like,
brass tacks.
Yeah, they're like, I'm like, all right, well, send me back, you know. But I remember laying in the hospital and flicking through channels, you know. I had 2 guards on me, and I'm eating good food, you know. That hospital had like a chef that knew what he was doing. And I just had like a peaceful, like, calm feeling just sweep over me, you know. And I just remember laying in bed, and it just hit me. I was like, oh, I prayed for this, you know. I prayed. I've been praying hard, like I'm finally sober. Hadn't been sober in years. And it was just like you're real, you know. It's just like you know, a lot of times you pray and, you know, you don't hear God talk back to you, or, you know, you're looking for a sign, you know, that, like, just let me know you're real, let me know, like, you're listening. And for me, he, like, spoke loudly. He's like, all right, you know, like, I heard your prayer and I answered it. I wasn't expecting heart surgery, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, they say God works in mysterious ways. And for me, I was like, dude, I'm like, I prayed for this. I'm like, he answered my prayer, you know. And I went back to prison and still slipped back to my old ways a little bit. But by that time, the transformation had already started. And probably a couple years later, I ended up walking away from gangs and getting myself ready for when I was getting out, you know, mentally preparing. And I was just talking to my father-in-law about this the other day. Like, I don't really deal with addiction like a lot of people do. You know, a lot of people, you know, they have programs or things that work for them. And, you know, some people, and whatever works for somebody, you know, for their sobriety, you know, good for them. But I'm not like a day-to-day kind of person to where I'm like, been sober for like 1,500 and some days. Like, it's just not anything that I ever think about, you know. And for me, it's like, I just feel like God just cured me on that level, to where it's not something that I struggle with. It's not something that I think about. Like, yeah, it was a big part of my life, but it's just like he erased it, just took it all away.
Hi, my name is Nicole Mercado, co-founder of Canaloo Air. We are a Christian, family-owned HVAC and plumbing contractor specializing in residential and light commercial services. From AC maintenance, repair, and full system replacement to duct cleanings, we've got you covered. Our dedication to quality service comes through our use of highly skilled technicians, commitment to educate and empower our clients to make the best decision for their AC needs, and fair and competitive pricing. So give us a call today at 602-609-3480 or visit us online at canalooair.com. That's CANILU.com. And remember to stay cool with Canaloo.
And I got out and I was working in behavioral health and psych and detox. And
were you drawn to that because of your past, or?
No, I didn't even know what psych and detox was, really. I didn't know they had facilities like that help people. I got out. I was working with a friend of mine. He works in like hot rods, like wiring cars and stuff. And my cousin was working at one of these facilities, and he showed me the check that he was making, and it was during COVID, so. Yeah, I was making like, I don't know, $1,000 every couple weeks or something, you know, and he was making a lot more than me. And I was like, how do I get into that, you know? And he's like, I can get you in. He's like, just apply. And I did. So that's what initially drew me to that. But then once I started working there, I was just really good at it, you know? I was just really good at it. A lot of it was being able to relate to these people, you know, and the facility that we worked at works a lot with the homeless community, you know, and a lot of the homeless community comes from, you know, prison culture, bad childhood, like trauma. And so when people would come in on drugs, you know, I was able to talk to them, relate to them. Some of them would come in wilding out, and you know, for a lot of staff, some staff that don't know how to deal with that kind of aggression, you know, it's pretty scary. But for me, I'm like, bro, chill out, you know. I'm like, and you know, some of them see me and they're like, oh, come here, like I'll talk to you, you know. So I think in some sort of way it was like therapy for me too, just to see people and what people are going through, and to see, you know, how God has blessed me, and you know where I'm at in life now and where I could be, you know. I'm like, oh, that could be me right there, you know, and it's not. So I did that for 4.5 years. That's where I met my wife, Alex. Worked side by side for about 4 years, and about a year ago, last year, met Ivan and Karen, her parents, and they invited me to church, and it was something that me and Alex were looking for. So yeah, it was last Easter, and we've been going strong ever since. And it's just, for me, it's, you know, God's been with me and working with me even when I wasn't working on myself, you know. It's just that he's just been showing up in my life at, you know, key points, and putting people in my life that, you know, now I have a church family and never had that before. And now I'm a stay-at-home dad. You know, just stay at home, take care of my son,
and then you had mentioned the other night when you were at Freedom at Last, right? You had made a testimony, and you just said, "I'm thankful for my family, thankful for, you know, because the way things are, because it's not been that way." Mm-hmm. In what ways has it changed from, or would you look back at your life and say, like, I can look back and say, oh, I couldn't imagine myself where I'm at now? Like, what has God done in your life?
Just changed my whole outlook on. For one, I'm a lot more patient, a lot more mature. I just, I'm just grateful, you know. Before, I think I was a little ungrateful, you know, just bad kid, you know. I had no respect for a lot of things. And, you know, now, you know, taking me from being in a 7x11 cell, pretty much, you know, a bathroom, to where now I got a wife, I got a family, got people that care about me, and that's just something that I don't want to lose, you know. I feel like I have a good relationship with God right now that I don't want to mess up either, you know. I don't want to, you know, mess anything up with him, or feel like I'm, spitting in his face and being, disrespectful for anything. He's been so good to me. I think I'm just able to see these things now. I wasn't mature back then,
Mm-hmm.
And
Do you feel you came to Christ when you were in the hospital? Like that was a moment where you accepted Him?
I think so. Yeah. I can't give you like an exact date, but I think for me, that's when I think He started working on me from when I was, 12, and the gospel came to me in bits and pieces along the way, and then I think for me that was a key moment in my life.
And did you have a Bible? Did they give you a Bible when you were 12 years old? Or?
Yeah, I did. When I was younger, in juvenile, I used to read. As an adult, when I went to prison, I didn't read it for a long time.
And so as you look back on your life, what would you say to somebody that was you when you were a kid?
Like if you could talk to yourself, the new creature, the mature JJ, talking back to that 8-year-old when you got jumped in, like what would you say to that kid?
And you kind of will, right? Because you have a newborn, so that's what you're gonna.
Right.
Man, I don't know. I think I would just tell him, you're gonna have some people that come into your life, and try to, some people that come into your life and want good for you, and share the good word with you, and just listen to those people and just stick by those people. Everything was there for me. Somebody took an interest in me and tried to mentor me at an early age, and all I had to do was just behave and stick by them, and I think my life would have been different.
Do you still have contact with them at all?
I tried to look them up. I couldn't find them.
Well, if they're listening to the podcast or somebody knows these people,
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
hit them up. And it's funny because you came on Friday and you're like, hey, how do you know Joseph, right? And I'm like, it's funny how how small, as you said, the world is. And that's kind of something Tony said too. Like that kind of world is smaller than what you think.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a whole lot, and people know about other people, and in the circles that you go.
Yeah, it's a small world out there, and for a lot of people, that's all they know. And if they just just take one step further this way, there's like a whole new world, but I had a friend that just got out the other day after 19 years.
Wow.
That was it's my buddy, we literally partners in crime back then, but me and Alex, we went and we took him out to eat, and just check up on him and just tell him like, just do good out here, like meet whatever they need you to do, and start experiencing things, but I went and picked him up on the reservation, and I drove him back to our house, and he was like, where are we at? Like Peoria, like the west side. He's like, man, bro, he's like, I've never been out here. He said, he's like, I've never been out this far. He said, the only place I've been is to the res in like Central Phoenix. And I'm like, we got to get you some places, bro.
Yeah, there's better places too.
Yeah. I'm like, we'll start by taking you fishing or something, you know? He's all like, I remember I used to like fishing as a kid. I'm like, we'll take you to a Sholo or Woods Canyon or something, you know?
That sounds good right now.
Yeah, nice and cool up there.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what somebody did for me when, you know, when I got out and I started working at that facility. Is we have some friend that just loves to go fishing all the time. He always takes everybody. So took me to Sholo, took me skiing, and just for me it was like new experiences and meeting new people, you know. And I think if you just stay stuck in that area, eventually like it's gonna consume you, you know. That's all you know.
You're just trying to love on them at this point.
Yeah, you know, just let them know, like, bro, that life's played out. Like you're too old, you know. Like you go back now, you're never gonna get out, you know. Yeah. So I think just that, trying to help somebody, you know. I got help, so I think that's pretty good.
I think that's the beauty of, to me, salvation and sanctification is. So you get out of hell, right? That's what some people get saved for. But then you get that relationship where he's there with you every day. And you had said, I think, you know, immature Christians, we do right because we want things or we want God's blessing. And then the more mature you get, you do things because you don't want to break the relationship. Just like your wife, right? You don't want to harm what you got because you know it's good, and you know whatever else is out there is just a fool's gold. It's not real, to be honest. Like drugs, right? It's there and it vanishes away. So do you have, for our listeners that are listening to your story, and how would you say God's working in your life like today? Like what does that look like? Like what do you have a mission or a goal, or I want to reach my friends, or I just, you know, I'm trying to be the best Christian and develop?
I think he's definitely, you know, he's never going to put more on you than you can handle, you know? And he took me out of a bad place, a place where there's a lot of people that are stuck in right now, you know, and they don't know how to move forward from that. And I think he has a plan for me and to reach some people, you know. I just don't know how yet, but I reach out to some people that, you know, I'm like, if he could just do good, you know, and I could help somebody, and I think I'll be doing my part, you know. One big thing is when I got out, I got pulled over by a gang unit, and
when you got out of prison?
Yeah, I got pulled over by the gang unit in Mesa. I was on a motorcycle on a little crotch rocket, and the person that pulled me over, like, where are you coming from? I'm like, the res. And he's like, okay. He called another unit, somebody else that was familiar with the res, and he said, what's your name? And I was like, JJ. He says, Erasmo? I'm like, man, how do you know me? I'm like, I've been gone for 14 years. I'm like, I'm not a part of anything. I'm like, I walked away from that life, you know. And he was just like, man. He's like, I can't believe I'm hearing you talk like this. He said, you used to be crazy, dude. And I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, I'm not a part of that, you know. And I'm like, I'm just looking for the barbershop. And he asked me if I would be willing to talk to his officers, like rookie officers that have like an interest in gangs or just want to understand it better, and that I would be helping them, because when they pull over somebody that looks like me, not everybody's doing bad things, you know. And turns out he's a Christian. And
wow.
He was there when I got baptized.
Wow. So he came to your baptism.
Yeah, he's my friend. And I've done talks with him at the police academy. We went and talked to at-risk youth at high schools, some human trafficking programs. But it's just another example of, you know, God putting these people in my life, like, that are Christians, that it's just by chance that it's just, that's the way it worked out. You know, my friend that picked me up, he's always been a believer and a brother in Christ. And then, you know, a cop, somebody that was on the other end of things, you know, he was there. He's like, dude, he's like, I know your whole history, like your stuff from this city to that city. He's always there when you got arrested. And now, you know, we make dinner plans and go see him and his wife. And, you know, he was there for, when I told him I was getting baptized, he said, I wouldn't miss that, you know. He said, I'll be there. Cool. I'll be there, you know.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. So he's seen the transformation. From. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Rebecca Mendez with Lamplight Ministries, where I serve the Lord by loving others through biblical counseling and workshops. Every day, we're reminded of our fallen world through disappointment, grief, fear, despair. We need a Savior. And in Jesus Christ, we have that Savior. He came to rescue us, offering His Spirit to guide us and His Word to comfort, correct, and lead us. If you're a follower of Christ, eager to grow in Him, I'd be honored to walk this journey with you through one-on-one biblical counseling. Together, we'll explore God's Word, find encouragement, and pursue faithful obedience to our Savior. Please visit me at lamplightministries.com to book your appointment today.
I mean, I think you know, you kind of already said it. It's your story, it's your experience, and everything that encapsulates your past that you can share with other people and relate to people, and then bridge that gap between where they're at and Christ. Like that, I think that's kind of where God has put you. I mean, you're saying, like, you're talking to cops, you're talking to people in juvie, you know, maybe in prison, or you know, somebody on the streets, or even when you had, you know, you were working at the behavioral health, you know, you could relate to these people. And I don't know how much you know, you can talk about Christ in that, right, you know, in that realm or whatever, but I think God's put you in a pretty interesting position because you have a platform, because of where you've been and what you've done. And like you said, you're not glorifying any of that, but you can bridge that gap because you can relate to people. Yeah. And I think that's powerful. This story is powerful. Even this podcast is going to go out. I mean, people are going to hear it and be able to share that because people will relate, or maybe they know a family member, you know, somebody's in gangs or in drugs or, you know, into some crazy stuff, and they'll share the podcast, you know. So, I mean, it's powerful, bro. Like, your story is very powerful. God's transformed your life. I mean, he's given you new life, and he's given you an opportunity now to share your story.
Yeah. I think a lot of people too that knew me from back then, and like my friend that I went and picked up the other day, we took him out to eat. He just kept telling my wife, he's like, I don't know this dude right here, you know? He's like, it's like he wasn't like this before, you know? And I'm like, man, like, you can do it too, you know? Like, like just stop, you know? Like, that life's, you know, behind you. And or like Tony, you know, like when I seen him the first time at Freedom that last, it just somebody that you could relate to. That's, you know, it's like, oh, that dude's like me, you know. And he's talking different stuff than what you would think would come out of my mouth, you know. I just think it would help some people.
And I think that night you shared your testimony too, and I thought that was powerful, and he related to that. And I think that's what God saves everybody. Some people, you know, maybe Ivan didn't do all these crazy things, but God still saved him from something himself, right? And God gives everyone a story to relate to different people. And so, just a quick question: why did he pull you over? Why did the cop pull you over?
They were doing a sting. They were doing an investigation on the Hells Angels on the motorcycle gang, and here I am, full of tattoos, on a motorcycle, and I had pulled over into an empty parking lot to Google an address, the barbershop. So I'm on a motorcycle, so I had it in my waistband. So I got out and I, Googled the address, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know where it's at. There was only one car in the parking lot, but it was dusty and dirty, and I didn't know anybody was in it. It was an undercover car. So when I started the motorcycle up to leave, I felt like somebody walking up on me, and I turned, and it was the gang unit, and I was like, I was just looking for the barbershop, and I was like, even though I wasn't doing anything wrong, it was just old habits. I was like, oh man, and yeah. So he's a good friend of mine now. My father-in-law, he's played a big role since he's came into my life. Him and Karen, my mother-in-law, they've just been very warm and welcoming to me, and have never made me feel any kind of way. Sometimes I still walk into some places, and I know how I look, and I know the looks I get, and try to smile at people like, hey, no, it's okay, like.
He doesn't bite.
Yeah, I'm just here to get some groceries, Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. And, the church, ever since, I don't think anybody at church looks like me, so, and everybody's just been very warm and welcoming, and just makes you feel comfortable, I think that's pretty big too. There's like, so I told Alex, I'm like, oh, I like it here. I feel comfortable. Like, I don't feel no pressure, and anybody, treats me any different, I
don't think God would have us to treat people because he doesn't see you different, right? He sees you as a born-again child of God, right? Which we all are, whether we have a suit on or whether you come in shorts. And man judges, but God looks on the heart.
Yeah.
As he did David. And I think of Romans 8:28, that all things work together for good to those that love God, right? So that, and then the Romans 8:29 talks that we might be conformed to the image of his son, that he allows things in our life to conform us. And even our sin of our past, he's able to use those tools to shape us and to use it for his glory. And just for you to look at your younger self, right? You're 12 years old, and you're saying, one day I'm going to be back here talking to, other people just like me. You would like, no, that's never going to happen. But how he is just awesome at restoring life and using you in ways that you never would have thought he would use you.
Yeah. I haven't made it to talk to the kids at juvenile, but the opportunity did sort of present itself through my friend Crossel, the detective.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, would you be interested in talking to going up to Adobe Mountain? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's like my childhood right there. I'm like, I spent like 3.5 years of my life in there. I'm like, to go back and to talk to these kids and tell them, like, just stop right now, and just show them that, what God has done for me. And I mean, Crosslow too, he's going to school right now. He just texted me earlier. Forgot what he's going for. He's going back to school for his Master of Arts in Religion with an emphasis on pastoral counseling. So he's looking to do good too, and then just if me and him could go talk to people, I think that's to see, both sides of the coin, law enforcement with, somebody with, my criminal background. I think that for a lot of people it's just like, how'd you guys end up together,
God. That's the only thing.
Exactly.
Just as he pulled you over, right? That's not a mistake that God had you pull over, pull out your phone. God planned all that.
Yeah.
We talk about
And that's crazy.
time. We talk about that all the time. We go out to eat, and he just tells me, he's like, I'm grateful for our friendship. He says, this is not normal. This is not a normal thing, and he says, same thing. He said, I always just think, like, what are the chances of all these things that happen to line up the way they did? It's just God, you can't, there's no other explanation for it. I remember, me and Alex, we were originally planning on getting married in Italy, and he was going to go and fly out and officiate the wedding.
Wow.
And we wanted to send him the wedding invitation, but at this point I only had his work phone, and I'm like, how do I ask him for his address? I'm like, or do I tell him, like, just meet up and just drop the card? I'm like, I don't know if he wants me knowing where he lives, And I was like, I'm just gonna ask him and see what he says. And I'm like, hey, Crosso, we have this invitation for you. You want us to mail it to you or drop it off at the office, or like, how do we do this? And he sent me his address, and I was like, oh. I was like,
We're friends. Yeah, you're in, bro.
Telling Alex, I'm like, I have his address. I'm like, he gave me his address, and I think we were both like just shocked. We're like, oh, he let me know where he lives, And then it's just another big moment. And then one day he says, hey, dude, don't text that number no more. He's like, this is my personal number. I'm like, oh, another milestone,
Was that like his work phone, or?
Yeah, it was his work phone, and he went from working in the gang unit and then to some sort of like peer support program for cops. I don't know exactly the details of it, but so he gave me his personal number, and I was just another milestone. Like, when he was going to officiate the wedding, though, he had to get, permission from his boss, because can't be, socializing with criminals, and they're like, yeah, they gave him the okay, and they said, yeah, no, I think this is good, it's something healthy, and just pretty big.
What a mind blow, right? To think that the guy that would be there for some of your arrest would be the one that would marry you and give you his personal phone number.
We didn't make it to that. We ended up changing the whole plans, but just the fact that he was willing to go and that he was going to do it, and I mean, it just drew us so much closer.
That's cool. That's way cool.
And he watched your baptism. He came.
Yeah, he came for that. Then we went out to eat after that, and he gave me a Bible. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's just another thing, that I'm grateful for, and I just don't want to mess up. I'm like these are good people that I got in my life that I didn't have before. My sister, for the longest, I'll text her in the morning. I'm like, hey, good morning, sis. How you doing? She's like, are you okay? Is everything okay? What happened? I'm like, nothing.
Say good morning.
Yeah, I'm like, I've been out 4 years now, and she's like, oh, okay, so good morning.
She is like PTSD, high alert.
She's a stress box anytime.
Just send her good morning and send her a Bible verse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If I'm texting you, we're good.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you meet with Ivan pretty frequently? I know Ivan, he's pretty very, very knowledgeable with the scriptures, and he's a good teacher too. I mean, I meet with him on Sunday night sometimes, and
I do. He's been a big influence in my life in the last year. Meet up every Monday. Comes over for Bible study.
Nice.
yeah, he's father figure in my life right now, you know, something that I've never had, you know, somebody take that kind of interest in me and just like really care for me, you know. Yeah.
Anything any final thoughts you want to share about your life or about advice or?
No.
Well, I mean, that's a powerful story, man. I mean, I think you have a quite an amazing testimony. And, you know, we talk about it all the time. You know, it's whether you have a past like you do or you have a past like, say, Pastor Saul, where he got saved when he was 4 years old. I mean, in either scenario, before Christ, you're dead. You know what I mean? Before Christ, you need a Savior. And it doesn't matter what your past is. But I think your story is very powerful in the fact that you can relate to a lot of people in the culture that's out there right now, and it's something you can share. I think God's got some big plans for you, bro.
Yeah. Hopefully I can get out there and help some people and, you know, bring them to Christ. And maybe it's ahead, you know.
Well, and he's already using you, right? I mean, I don't want to walk past that either. Where he's already, and he's orchestrated all these things in your life, right? To this.
Yeah, I just think there's still a bigger plan out there that I just haven't seen yet. You know, I'm taking it all in as I go.
And that's what Proverbs 3:5-6, right? We trust in the Lord with all our heart and lean not to our own understanding. And then he says, in all thy ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. And he doesn't promise to be a spotlight, but he does promise to be a light. And if you're holding a flashlight, I mean, I just did the Grand Canyon, pitch black, and right, you can only see not too far in front of you, but he knows that whole future, but he just guides the step for today, the step for tomorrow, the step for the day after. And it's just every day. And how just, I mean, if I were you looking back, I'd be blown away by, I never would have thought.
I am. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Alex has went and done, when she's went with me to their police academy, when I went to go talk to officers, and she's went with me to a high school to where I talked to like 4 or 5 classes just back to back. It was a little redundant, but Crosser was telling her, did you know all this about him? Because, you know, he puts my picture up on a slide,
like a PowerPoint or something.
Yeah, and then we just go back and forth, and he tells Alex, like, you know, she's like, he tells me like I know, but I just can't picture him doing any of this, you know, just because it's not me anymore, you know.
You're that new creature.
Yeah, it's just a rare thing. Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
No, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and your testimony. And this podcast is to give courage believers, but also give people hope. So maybe they have somebody that they know in their life that they quit praying for because they feel like it's a hopeless situation. And it's not, right? As long as you have air in your lungs, God is able to work.
Yep.
Even from a hospital bed where you thought you were okay, and a day later you would have been dead. But God says, nope, that's not the end for you. And prison was not the end for you either. And I even think my own, family that it's just funny how it's a full circle. And I even shared with you, like, hey, my older cousin that used to hang out with got saved and sent you his baptism. And that was mind-blowing when he came to Christ. And then people probably feel the same about you. So just, our God is awesome.
Amen. Well, thanks, everybody, for listening. If you do us a big favor and subscribe. If this podcast episode has been a blessing to you, again, you can visit us at abundantlife.fm, and thank you for listening. And we'll see you in the next episode.
And if you know JJ from back in the day, 12 years old, hit us up.
Say what's up. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
Till later.
Thank you for listening to the Abundant Life Podcast. We pray you were blessed by today's episode. Please visit us online at abundantlife.fm. Until next time, may God bless you.